the clairvoyance of being Presses Limited, and so we rely on press releases. Committed the YouTube cardinal sin by missing last week's episode because of illness, so let's just get straight into it now. The first release is from the AbleGamers charity, which is a charity for the promotion of games developed for and by people with disabilities. The core part of the release is around GDC and its Train Jam, as AbleGamers is sponsoring 3 people who develop games for the disabled to attend to it. And when I say attend, I mean a full sponsorship. This is a 3-person, all expenses paid trip to GDC in San Francisco. In the release, the COO of the AbleGamers charity, Stephen Spon, said, "After a long voting process, it feels great to once again give talented game developers access to all of the opportunities afforded to them by Train Jam. This year, AbleGamers' continued partnership with Train Jam will be a global celebration with 3 different winners from 3 different countries with 3 diverse backgrounds, each being an aspiring developer with disabilities. We're incredibly excited to see what this year's group accomplishes in March and beyond." The Train Jam itself starts on Thursday, March 15th in Chicago, ending on March 17th in San Francisco, which will be followed by GDC 2018, which goes on from March 19th to the 23rd. They made a video with and about the 3 developers who won the vote, and I'll put a link to that in the description. As an additional note regarding gaming and charity, Game Blast 18 for the Special Effect charity was this weekend. It was one of the stories we were going to cover on Monday previous, but illness got in the way of that video coming out. The charity fundraising bug certainly seems to be doing the rounds at the moment. And now it's time to move on to a topic that we've become quite known for, and that's Warhammer 40k. Specifically, we've had 2 press releases covering Warhammer 40k games, and the first one is one we've talked about before, and that's the Steel Wolves developed game, the Horus Heresy, the Battle of Calth. It is most known as a VR-capable strategy game, as there is a human mode where you can go around the size of the other characters and actually look at the characters right up close. We did an early access preview which you can read on the website, and the reason why it comes up now is that the game is entering early access on the 27th. Meaning tomorrow. All the other notes that came as part of the release were just the intentions for what they're planning to do, which is advance the story mode, do bug fixes, add more to the VR human mode, and finalize the multiplayer component. With it only entering early access tomorrow, it's still going to be a sparse release. I would say if you're interested, have a look at our preview. The second release we had is about a new announcement for a game, which is Warhammer 40k Mechanus. It's an adaptation that is fixatedly around the era of 40k, which is the Adeptus Mechanus, which in layman's terms is the machines and the robots. For the time being, the only thing that was released about the game was some still shots and a video, but the video is a pre-rendered movie cutscene thing, so there's not really that much to talk about regarding actual evidence of what the game is actually going to be like. But with the way that it is presented, it is most certainly that the story can be seen as something that's going to be very Ghost in the Shell, not necessarily...
That's fine with me!
And not wholly...
Look past the flesh.
But a lot more...
But I am already saved.
I'm actually very interested to see how this turns out, as, regarding the lore, a lot of the machines are built with the machine spirit, which is basically bits of people. Hence the reason why the easiest things to compare it to are Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix, both having their human components but also not. But at this point of time, nothing solidly about the game is released. No videos or screenshots or even any pure definition of what the game finally, in its final end product, is going to be. So a dose of skepticism is probably mandated at this point, but you colour me intrigued. And before we move on to the charts and the new releases, here are 2 very quick-fire releases of things to talk about that aren't really big stories on their own, but, well, it's something to mention. The first is this year's EA Play, EA's big conference worldwide thing. It's basically EA's big run-up conference just before E3. And they have now announced the dates and where the event is going to take place. Unsurprisingly, is going to happen again at the Hollywood Palladium in California between the 9th and 11th of June. As I said before, EA Play is basically EA's big run-up towards E3 because it's going to be in the middle of the year, very close to E3, if not basically their pre-conference. The press train shall never stop, which means that the PR people are never going to stop saying things. And the last bit of news to cover is the 21st DICE Awards, which is an awards event held by the Academy for Digital Arts and Sciences. It's basically another prestigious gaming award show. They have a long list of awards, so I'm not going to go through them here, but I am going to put a link to their website listing all of the awards down in the description below. As a quick rundown of the major winners, there's Game of the Year going to Legend of Zelda, Role-Playing Game of the Year going to Nier Automata, Fighting Game Year going to Injustice 2, Family Game of the Year going to Snipper Clips, and Action Game of the Year going to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. As the awards are awarded by the Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences, there's a lot of technical achievement awards there as well. So, like I said, it's a very long list of awards, and so I'll put a link in the description below to the full list. And so, before we go, here is the UK All Formats Gaming Charts, again, graciously supplied by UKIE Ltd. Not much change this week, as the only 2 new appearances to the charts is just Metal Gear Survive and The Sims 4. Otherwise, it's just the changing of places, and the number 1 top spot still going to FIFA. Although, seeing the reviews that are coming out for it, it'll be interesting to see where Metal Gear Survive ends up next week. More than anything, I'm kind of surprised it got to number 6. Moving on! Here is the list of the games that are going to be coming out this week. It's a long list. If you want to read it, you may want to pause the video. And that is it for this week. If you find this video informative, please do consider subscribing and sharing the video around, and I will see you next week for the next Press Rush.